Off Limits is the money podcast that blows up stereotypes, showing you that managing money doesn't have to be hard.
We want you to thrive, not only with your money, but in every part of your life.
What you will get out of this podcast is real, relatable, and relevant tips and strategies that you can apply today. Hi, I'm Donald Raymond, and this is
Christine Spiak. We are money coaches, business owners, and colleagues who are passionate about helping you become more of who you are. So if you're ready, join us.
Go back to that word intentional, because while you can slip into bad habits by accident, you will never turn the corner and get back and start building some of these better habits and replacing the bad habits unintentionally. It won't happen by accident. It has to be on purpose, and it takes time. We talk about it takes 21 days of repetitive behavior to create a new habit or something like that. And I don't necessarily subscribe to the math or the frequency. I think it just takes discipline. You just have to be committed to the outcome. I think if you can be mentally committed on the first cycle of a new good habit, you can have that habit for the rest of your life. You don't have to give yourself some of these other sort of arbitrary limitations where, oh, well, I was only able to do the habit for 20 days, so I guess I'm not going to be able to keep that habit. Don't sabotage yourself that way. If you're committed to it, if it's part of your philosophy, then it's now part of your philosophy. And that's true on day 1, and it's true on day 2 and day 4,000. It's just there. It's true until you change the philosophy.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Let's give our listeners some examples, because maybe they're still listening to us, but they're like, well, how does this really apply to my life? What really are some more financial principles or philosophies or rules, boundaries, all these words that we've been using?
Yeah.
Some things may be, I will only shop local and limit my online purchases. I won't make impulsive purchases. I'll give myself 24 or 48 hours, maybe a week or 2 weeks before I actually pull the trigger. Maybe it's I will always research and investigate large purchases that I'm making, so I'm making a well-informed decision.
Yeah, no doubt. You need to have very clear lines, right? And that's what you're doing. I like you said you give to a charity, and so tithing, right? As we think about the way we build our budget, as you're building your budget, another way to create some of that clarity and to build on the philosophy is to have categories of spend. And so, you'll hear the 3 primary ones that Dave Ramsey's made famous, which is give, save, and spend. But even more granular, give to who, give to what, how much, right? So figure out exactly what percentage. I like to use percentages because you can just divide that out of the 100. And it's a lot easier to come, have the amounts that are going to be left over and not have to always worry about the pennies. So you could just use your percentages there. And maybe, for us, we use 10%. We've used 10% as a tithing line our whole lives. And whether that goes directly to the church or is split between the local church and a local charity or whatever that looks like for you, just have that clarity in your planning. And same with saving. Especially saving. How are you saving? Are you taking advantage of a 401k match? Do you participate in different investment type of programs? And then your philosophy is going to help you guide the relationship with your investment professional, what you will and won't invest in. You may have certain beliefs, certain values that really preclude you from being able to invest in certain companies or certain types of investments. And so you want to be very clear with your investment professional, because this represents, over time, an enormous part of your financial portfolio. It's only going to grow, and it's only going to become bigger and bigger over time if you make it a priority. And so it's not one that you want to get wrong. We talk about the house and the car being, combined, the biggest debt, the biggest liability and asset that you'll ever own. But really, if we include our retirement, that probably isn't true anymore, because if we look at that future retirement value, it becomes the largest asset that you have. And so you want to have the same kind of focus and intentionality there. And so make sure you know what your program looks like. And then, of course, spending, you need to know what you will and won't spend on. How many times are you going to go out to eat each week? Where are you going to go? Build a routine around it so that you kind of take some of the guesswork away. Don't get caught in the conversation, where are we going to eat? What do we want to eat? Because as soon as you start saying want, you're not saying need anymore, and you've just deviated from the plan, which means you may be operating outside of the philosophy.
And the word you just used, routine. So maybe it's every payday we go out to dinner that night, and that's twice a month where we know we're going out to a nice dinner. And because it's only twice a month, that is a nice dinner. And it's these favorite restaurants. Maybe it's every Friday, maybe it's every Monday. But when you create these routines for yourself, it's very easy to implement the philosophy that you've outlined for yourself.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Off Limits.
Beyond the podcast, we are money coaches who want to help you.
So if you are looking for help managing your money, use the links in the description below to contact either of us and learn how coaching can help you thrive.
Lastly, please help us to spread the word by subscribing, leaving a comment, and sharing our podcast with your friends and family.